This is the second entry of my video diary series, I guess we're calling it, for the Dungeons & Dragons campaign I'm running set in the Vampire Hunter D world. So picking up where we left off, Gwen and Susilo, the Dhampir Artificer and Shifter Fighter, respectively, had just rescued Gregory Harston, the old man that they were sent to find from the laboratory of the Vampire Castle, and had gone to his home with him to briefly discuss the whole science of magic, which led to Gregory bringing up that he had a friend named Sindri in a town a few days' travel northeast called Fandel, which has given me a reason to run the Lost Mines of Fandelver campaign. So after a long rest and some shenanigans, which involved Gwen, the Dhampir, going out looking for food and eventually ended up eating a rat after getting into a fight with a giant spider, they went into town to look for supplies, which included coffee, quiver of arrows, or just a quiver for arrows. But in the process, they were accosted by a group of ruffians. Now, I did this to show them, hey, your characters are not going to be welcome everywhere. You're going to face a lot of racism because one is a Dhampir and the other one is from Barbaroi. Which, again, Dhampir, half vampire, half nobility. We're already leery of you because of one half of your parentage. The other one is from a village of mutants and freaks and monsters who are generally not to be trusted. At least according to the general populace. So there was a scuffle, and by a scuffle I mean a fight, which would have gone badly if the sheriff hadn't intervened. The sheriff was going to intervene anyway, but Gwen's player pulled the whole, oh, hurt woman, woe is me, help me, spiel. Like I said, the sheriff was going to intervene anyway after a round or two of combat, which resulted in these ruffians being carted off to jail with the deputies, and the sheriff reminding these two, hey, be on your toes wherever you're going. Not everybody is going to be welcoming you. You're going to be facing a lot of that. A lot of racism and violence simply for being who you are. So they ended up getting a couple of horses, which Gwen named them Geraldo and Matter. She named the other one Matter because that was Susilo's horse, and Susilo was like, why should I name it? It doesn't matter. Okay, your name is Matter now. Getting the horses, they also got a cart, and they were off. On their travels, they ran into a couple of NPCs from the last session, Kylam Teresti and Christina Mars, the dragon hunters, who were on their way to fight an acid dragon, a black dragon. And that's going to come into play later, because the idea is, yeah, it's set in the Vampire Hunter D world, but this is also going to give me an excuse to run some adventures and dungeons from official D&D modules. I'm not going to spoil this one right now in case my players are watching, so just be prepared. Camped out for the night, and after taking their positions and setting up a trap just in case any nasties come by, a nasty came by in the form of a manticore. This manticore spent a couple of rounds really roughing them up, especially Gwen, the Dhampir, where she ended up not only getting most of her back just clawed off, but she also ended up with a barb right basically where her kidney would be. After the fight, she had that barb taken out and fashioned it as a sword. Fashioned as a short sword made out of a manticore barb. So, hooray, new weapon. The manticore itself ended up being turned into a pile of goop thanks to acid. So, while the manticore started messing them up, they ended up messing it up. I mean, you don't get any more messed up than being turned into acid goop. Anyway, moving on, they eventually came to a forested area. and to a scene of carnage. This is where I opened up Lost Mines of Phandelver and started running that part. The Goblin Ambush. For those who've ran Lost Mines of Phandelver, you know what that entails. But things went a whole lot easier for them because Lost Mines of Phandelver, Lost Mines, that is written with the intent of the player starting out at level 1, but after this fight with these 4 goblins, one of whom ran away and the other one was taken prisoner, so 2 died and 2 lived. They leveled up from 3 to 4. I like to start my campaigns at level 3, so that way they're not too weak, but they also already have certain features and traits that they probably would want to have at that point. So interrogating this goblin, whose name turned out to be Sneeze, led them to the entrance of a cave. This is Cragmaw Cave in the module. And after some coercing, and by coercing I mean Gwen basically threatened him, hey, if you don't do this, I'm going to make you drink this bottle of acid and you're going to end up like your little friend. That's how they ended up beating one of the goblins in the ambush. Gwen fed him a bottle of acid, and I described it as Kitana's fatality in Mortal Kombat 1, where they first puke up their guts and then melt back into the goop. It's nasty. Send him running in. And that was where we ended that session. I know that they're... Well, yeah, they are looking forward to it, but at the same time, running something from a pre-written module is more the illusion of choice, but still, you want to try to make things flow as naturally as possible. And admittedly, I've never really ran a pre-written module. I'm counting on my shelf behind my computer here. If you count Lost Mines, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 18. I've got 18 5e modules. Lost Mines of Phandelver, The Stranger Things 1, Hunt for the Tessel Hydra, Dragon of Ice-Fired Peak. I'm not going to count them all, but I'm just saying. So, yeah, that was where that session ended. They're at level 4 now, and about to, if not go exploring Cragmaw Cave, to try to find the human prisoner who is the person or at least they think, is the person they've come to meet up with. Or they're going to have a fight with the Goblin Chief, or at least a negotiation with the Goblin Chief. So we'll see where that goes in a few weeks. It's still 2 players right now. We're trying to get a 3rd player. He's a friend of ours who's been in a few campaigns with us. But his job basically has him on a really short leash and are constantly mandating him to work. Another one just recently got a promotion at work, so we'll see if he'll be able to join in. He was another one who's been in a few past campaigns, so he's also been involved in a few shenanigans. Not a problem player, just, hey, this will be funny. Sometimes it is, but I digress. We'll see where things go in the next couple of weeks.